Me here, so we'll go ahead and begin this Commissioners Court on January the 23rd, 2023. And if you would, let's let Mark Lowen, First Christian Church, pray for us.
Let's pray. Almighty God, remind us of your guiding presence. Open our minds to the ideas and opportunities that are before us, and fill our hearts with compassion and generosity for each other. We pray this day for the well-being and success of Cooke County, for its employees and citizens alike, and for the needs that are brought before this court. Bless each of us and our work. Be with us and lead us. In the name of Jesus the Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mark, thank you very much. We needed that. Appreciate it. And I would like to do the pledges today. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you very much. Thank everybody that's here today, and glad to see you. Do we have any public comments? Anybody signed up for public comments? Okay. Consent agenda is item number 6, and it includes any non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. And the judge or commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda. Does anybody wish to pull anything on the consent agenda, first of all?
Got a question for you real quick. What's FY20 and FY23? I probably should know that.
Say again.
FY22 and FY23?
Fiscal years.
Fiscal year budget.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Our fiscal year is October
Yeah.
1st to September
Okay.
30th.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Snuggs to approve the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The consent agenda is passed 5-0.
Judge,
Yes,
can we take something out of order?
sure.
Item 15, tractor bobs.
Mm-hmm.
The city manager is here, or was here to talk to that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not properly posted, and our supporting documentation is not about tractor bobs who was looking for an abatement. It's about the ITERs, which is a totally different beast. I would suggest that we take no action on that so that the city manager, who has some other things to do, can leave if he would like.
Okay.
Or did he already leave?
He's here.
Okay, he's hiding out.
He is here.
Yeah, he's here, but he's here to talk about tractor bobs,
Uh-huh.
and tractor bobs is not part of the ITERs. So our agenda item is incorrect. We'd be making a mistake to talk to it anyway, in my opinion.
Okay, that's,
I can tell you something real quick on this, if y'all would like. We have 2 different economic development packets going through right now. One of them is a tax abatement for tractor bobs, and the other one is reinvestment zone number 1, which is a TERS, a tax
The TERS.
increment reinvestment zone. So
Just a minute, Barry. Let's
these sort of
approve
have
taking it out of order first, if we're gonna talk to it.
oh, okay, yeah.
I mean,
You
let's.
make the motion, then we,
Yeah, let me make the motion, take it out of order.
Okay, motion is made that we take, what item is that?
15.
Which one, 15? Okay, that we take 15 out of order. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Barry.
Go ahead, Barry.
So I think the two programs got merged into one on the agenda. Very likely mistake because they both have reinvestment zones and so it's very confusing on that matter. So if y'all would want me to at your next meeting, I can show up and talk about both of them as two different items if you would like.
Well, first of all, what happened on this then? Because we talked about the TERS before, and you said you were going to bring it in January. How did they get merged, do you think?
I don't know. I'm guessing it went to somebody's desk and they saw the two and they sort of just merged it. It happens sometimes.
Okay,
But they were just two different items and the city had sent them over sort of at similar times as
Okay.
well. So I'm
Gotcha.
sure that added to the confusion.
okay. Well, that's a good catch, Commissioner Hollowell. What would you like to do, are you going to present both of them, or?
Yes, I can do that next time and I can even bring a consultant if y'all would like to go into more details, generally what TERS are, and then go
Okay.
specifically into ours. So it'd be an education and a specific on our event, and that's what this guy does for a living. He's not tied to the business. In fact, they only work for municipalities and counties on economic development deals. And then on the tractor bobs, that's just one of our tax abatements that we have going through the regular system.
Okay, you're all up to speed on tractor bobs and everything else. The TERS, if I remember right, is something that we probably could use a good presentation on. So if you, do you want to do both of them at the same time with your?
Yes, that'd be perfectly fine. You get me
Okay.
on the next agenda and I can bring that gentleman in.
Okay.
And he'll have the presentation on that. Then I can present, if y'all would like, up to y'all on tractor bobs as well.
And as long as we're discussing it, Judge, probably what you need to do would be my suggestion is take his documentation on ITERS, the packet that he's prepared,
Right.
and send it to Allison,
Send it to?
Jim Allison.
Okay.
Yeah, TERS, this would be the first one, and it is the first one in the county that the city initiated, which is requires city initiation. But like I told most of y'all, I had to go through 3 training classes on this, all the same one, before I had all my questions answered. And so this guy does a pretty good job of discussing it in general, so it'd be great educational for all of us. And I appreciate y'all's time. Sorry for the confusion.
Did you bring a TERS packet with you?
I did not. I brought a Tractor Bob's packet with me.
Could you possibly, I think that's a good idea, could you possibly get a TERS packet to
Can you get us the electronic
Melissa?
version?
And
Yes.
I think that's a real good idea to send that to Jim Allison.
I'll get you that, and then I will also get, I don't know how y'all do the presentations, but we do have a PowerPoint, and I could,
We'll take a TV screen. We've got a, 48 inch.
would y'all need that in advance? Or would you, he just?
We can load it on thumb drive, I think, Christian.
Where's Christian?
Yeah, just thumb drive it. Work.
There you are.
Have
Can
that.
Can
we have it on our,
Well, actually, he will put it on a thumb drive, we'll load it up, and it'll display on a TV versus a
okay,
projector.
gotcha.
I just need to know how y'all would want.
Thumb
that
drive
copy,
it.
so-
How's that?
Perfect.
USB
Yeah.
thumb drive.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
And-
Darryl back there.
And if you would get a packet to Melissa so she can get it to Jim Allison, I think that's a good idea.
We'll get you a fresh one on the TERS and a fresh one on the.
Okay. Tractor
fresh one on
Bob's.
Tractor Bob's, and then we can go through that.
Okay. This is not gonna set you back or anything, is it, if you have to
No,
wait
sir,
2
I
more
think
weeks?
we're on track.
Okay.
And moving forward, and so I didn't know if this was gonna be on January or February meeting, so.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate his appreciate y'all's attention to this and.
Well, if you're gonna
working
send
with
it to Jim, you might schedule it for toward the end of February, just make sure we get it,
Right.
get
We
it
get
back.
feedback back before,
I
so,
mean, I'd hate for you to come up here and we're still sitting there thinking,
Yes, sir.
not knowing what's going on, so.
let's do that in the form of a motion. I make the motion to packet, the ITERS packet be sent to Jim Allison for review and comments.
Okay, motion's been made that we send the packet to Jim Allison. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. And all in favor? Aye. And any opposed? There are none.
See, I think that's a perfectly legitimate action because it says deliberate and consider possible action on the participation agreement for the ITERS. So that should be. Thank you.
Thank y'all, gentlemen.
Sounds good. Thank
Thank
you, Barry.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, court, for taking that out of order.
Certainly. Okay, and the consent agenda is already taken care of here. So I believe we're on item number 7 then. Deliberate and consider the approval of the treasurer's monthly report for December. And we have the treasurer here.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is Commissioner Snuggs. And who's that?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That item number 7 passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Ms. Treasurer. Item number 8, deliberate and consider the approval of the treasurer's quarterly report for October, December 2022. Would you like to speak to that, Ms. Treasurer, or does that need, okay.
Motion to approve that one as well.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Snuggs, and I'll second that one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item number 8 passes 5-0. And thank you. Item number 9. I thought we'd get you up here sooner or later. Item number 9, discussion of the possible renewal and extension of the current depository contract. And right now, it's with Simmons Bank, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What would you
Started
like
out
to?
with Landmark Bank,
Right.
and on May 31st, it will expire. But we do have the option to renew and extend for 2 more years, if that's what we so choose to do. And we would have also the option to renegotiate terms. However, I do want to make it known to the court that I've had complaints about Simmons. When we first started with Landmark, they were a local bank, and we love the people at our local branch. They have been fantastic, but a lot of their hands are tied in a lot of different things. There's a difference between doing business with a large bank that is spread all over and a local bank. We found that to be true whenever Simmons took over Landmark. I don't know how much Simmons has experience with dealing with public funds, because it seems to be that we've had to really pull a lot of teeth to try to get things done. And it's not just my office. I've had complaints from several other offices on how that works. That being said, like I said, I have no problem with the local bank, the local branch, but it seems to me that maybe we could go out for bids to see what we might get before instead of just going ahead with a renewal extension. I mean, they would have the opportunity to bid again too, so.
I'd definitely like to go out for bids.
How do we do that, does that go through your office to go out for bids or
No,
through?
no, you,
Through me,
the
okay,
judge's office, there's a lot to it. It's not a simple procedure.
okay,
But it does, it involves your office, my office, the auditor. We all do work together, but it primarily is done through your office. You send out all the bid packets, all that.
okay. It seems to me like that would be a pretty wise thing to do anyway. As we approve, how often do we have to approve the contract? Yearly?
No, actually, it is, this particular contract was done for 4 years
Okay,
with a 2-year extension.
okay,
So previously, it had been like for a 2-year with a 2-year extension.
okay,
But you can go up to 6 years with a bank.
okay. And when we go out for bids, what banks do we contact?
The
and,
local banks, like, coming to mind, there'd be Prosperity, Simmons, First United, Munster State Bank.
First State Bank.
Oh, First State Bank, of course, I thought I said First State, but yeah,
But local banks?
local banks.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay,
So, I mean, it's just, I think it would be a good thing to go out, since we've already had them 4 years and we're still having problems. I hate to say it, because I really do like the local branch, but that's just my recommendation.
okay. With that in mind, I think that probably what we need to do then is to, and I will make the motion then, that we put the contract up for renewal and do whatever is necessary to go out for bids to local banks. And how long do we have to do this?
This is on a timeline. I don't have the specifications for that. That's something that the judge's office handles. But I do know
Okay.
that it's on a timeline, and that's why I wanted to bring it in front of the court now, so that you would have plenty of time to get things in order.
Okay, so I think probably we need to get, you said the contract expires in May?
May 31st.
Okay. We might as well go ahead and get started on that. So I'll make the motion as I stated just a minute ago.
I'll second your
Time out, guys.
Go ahead.
Say again?
In that motion was the word renewal.
Yes.
You're not renewing if you're going out for bids and contracts.
I didn't think it said that.
You said something to the effect that we renew it and then we go out for bids.
Oh, I got you.
See, and they're two different beasts,
Well,
I would think.
I think technically, even if we go to another bank, we're probably renewing the contract.
No,
We're
no,
not?
each
Shelley, am I
contract
missing
is
something?
separate.
Okay, then we're gonna go out, I make the motion that we go out for bids to local banks, for our
Depository contract.
depository contract. Okay,
Second.
Yeah.
second, Commissioner Snubs. Thank you, Commissioner Hollowell.
I didn't catch that.
Second, Commissioner Snubs, and, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? There are none. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Treasurer.
Another agenda item.
Okay. Deliberate and consider the approval of the 2023 investment policy and discuss the investment committee.
Okay, I presented the 2023 investment policy, which did not change from 2022. But what I did want to bring to your attention is in the investment policy, we do have a provision for an investment committee. And the reason for the investment committee is just to keep more than me advised as what is going on with the investments. Also, if anyone, on the committee would have any recommendations on what they would like to see done. But in the investment committee policy, it does state that the county treasurer, as the investment officer, together with the county judge, the county auditor, and a commissioner, would be the members of the investment committee. In the past, our commissioner that had been doing it was Leon Clement. But now we have a new judge and we have new commissioners, and so we would need to
Replace two.
Replace the members of the committee. And it also states that the members of the investment committee shall attend at least 10 hours of instruction relating to investment of public funds within 12 months after assuming the duties, and attend an investment training session not less than once in a 2-year period, and receive not less than 10 hours of instruction relating to investment responsibilities from an independent source approved by the Commissioners Court and in compliance with Government Code Section 2256.008C. So, also, the commissioner would have to be replaced every 2 years. It's on a rotating deal. So if you still want to keep, my question is, do you still want to keep the investment committee as part of the investment policy? And if so, then we need to create the new committee. It's only there, like I said, it's not required to be in there, but it is in our current one. So I don't know what your feelings are on that.
Being the new guy, what do you guys think?
I think we need to keep the committee.
I tend to agree with that. What do y'all think?
We could revise the policy to, if you didn't want to do it, you could be the commissioner, right now it says commissioner, judge, Shelley, and Patty. You could delegate, you could say the judge or the judge's designee in her policy.
Mhm.
That'd still give you 2 members of the court.
Yes.
And then, I don't know, has anybody else been to the investment class at this point other than me? I mean,
What?
I know, I'm talking about on the court.
Where is this investment class?
I do have information on the upcoming one.
Okay.
It is February 28th through March 3rd, and it is in San Marcos.
There's one June the 6th at, where'd I tell you?
This is the
Oh,
basic.
Austin.
Yeah,
This is the basic.
Round Rock.
Georgetown.
I'm going to be
Georgetown.
attending that one in.
But it's a basic too, isn't it?
It's not the basic.
Not the basic.
Mm-mm.
For some reason, I thought they was repeating it. And it says, one of them just, you have to have been to the initial, right? And then it
Which
says
is this
any of them
one.
after 10 hours, right?
Which is this one.
Right. But could I not go to the one in Georgetown because I've been to the basic?
Right, you go to that. Mhm.
I kind of think we need to keep the committee in place. What do you think? It makes sense to me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind being part of it.
All right.
I
Absolutely.
recommend that we
You wanna put that in
do.
the form of a motion?
We didn't really carry through like our investment policy said to do. So, I mean, it's something that if we are going to have the committee, we need to abide by what this says.
Yeah.
It's just a meeting to let everybody know what's going on the
Anybody have an
committee.
issue with changing the wording where the judge can appoint a designee?
Okay, let me make sure and understand. Right now, the committee is you, the auditor, the
A
judge,
judge
and a
and a
commissioner. Okay.
Mhm.
Is there any reason we should change that, or would it be beneficial to change that in any way?
I mean, if all 4 of you want to be on it, I don't care.
No, because then we'd have to do a commissioners meeting every time. The committee
Okay.
needs to come back and brief us. We don't need to have to post a meeting on
Right.
on our financial stuff. The only question is, how busy you're gonna be, do you wanna be part of that, or do you not wanna be part of that? Because if they do it and you're the member, it's certainly gonna work into your calendar, so.
Do I hear a motion?
So you want to change it where it doesn't rotate, right?
No, I'm not, I'm just saying, our policy currently states it has to be a judge and it has to be one commissioner. My suggestion was it has to be a commissioner, and then the judge, should he choose, could designate, it could ultimately be two commissioners. Because you can't do three, because then you got your
Right,
quorum, you
right.
had to post it and all that stuff, so, but I don't, it's,
Like you said,
But it says that every 2 years you alternate, or you still gonna do
Well,
that?
it would probably be beneficial to
it doesn't
me
hurt,
to
because people learn.
go to the class. I mean, starting out again and everything else, at least to start with.
Fine by me.
I think for my own education, one thing and another, I would kind of like to go to the class, so I'd be in favor of leaving it like it is. But once again.
Well, I don't, see, if you change it,
Yeah.
if you're dealing with policy, you could say you or designee.
Sure.
And then if some point you say, hey, I'm
Decide
too
you don't
busy
wanna
for
be
this,
busy.
or whatever, we
We
don't
have the
have to go
Let's
back
do that.
and recreate the
That-
wheels,
that-
what
that
I'm
makes
thinking.
sense.
But I don't,
Are
That
you
makes
volunteering
sense.
to be the designee? Or not the designee, but the other commissioner?
I'll do whatever y'all want, but I'm not hung up on it. I have been to the basic class, but I too would need to go back and do the once every 2 years, 10 hours in 2 years if I were it. But it makes me no difference, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
some of you, if y'all are on it, it's just an opportunity to learn and participate, and understand the
Do
finances.
either one of y'all have any interest in it?
I got enough going on.
I don't mind doing it, but
Yeah,
I make the motion that we let the judge and Jason Snuggs go to the investment committee, along with Shelley and Patty.
I will probably go to the class just because it keeps me current. I've done it, so I need to go.
I do like the idea of a designee if something came up between now and then.
Okay, I'll change that in, as the judge and or designee.
There you go.
Is that-
Judge or his designee.
His
You need to make sure it's his
designee. Okay.
designee.
That's right.
Okay,
And then a commissioner. But the main thing, Michelle, we gotta get that in our minutes.
Let's do that.
So
okay,
that Patty will revise it to
yes,
Okay.
read judge, his designee, and one commissioner.
and I was just,
To include judge and,
The
Or
judge
designee.
or his designee, one commissioner.
One commissioner.
The auditor and the treasurer. Of course, the treasurer ought to be at the head of the list, but
Right.
wonder if that investment class would go towards our,
it does. CUs.
it would kill two birds with one
For
stone.
sure.
I bet it would.
I might do that regardless whether I'm the.
I bet it would.
I'm
it's pretty
Commissioner.
interesting, and
Yeah.
it's very intense, though,
I've heard all the
the
other
basic is, and you do have to take a test.
And it's tax sponsored, right? It's tax sponsored.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna go
I've
towards
heard all the
CUs.
commissioner continuing education stuff repetitive now, so be
Yeah.
nice to get something
be
different.
interesting.
Okay, well, we can get the wording changed up and then decide
Sure.
who our guy is the next time we talk about it.
So do I have to bring that before the court again, once I've changed the word, for you to accept?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
We approved the first one, right?
yeah,
So we're revising it.
I'm gonna change it.
So we need to sign off on it again, Judge. Because it's a policy that we approved and it's being changed.
okay.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying we can get the
You'd want to
changes
review
made.
it,
and-
so, because there'd be changes to it.
And then we
Okay.
can decide
Okay.
who.
I'll bring it back next
is on it
court
with
then.
Bring it back next court,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
All right.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Okay, no action this time, but we'll be back.
Do we, that needs to be action?
Well,
Yeah, that needs to be action.
if she's gonna bring it back though,
Well, but we gave her action. I'll make a motion that we,
okay, there you go.
The policy be revised.
yeah, I'll make a motion that we're revising the investment committee, come Monday, committee to say that it will be the treasurer, the auditor, one commissioner, and the judge or the judge's designee. And then we'll, after she gets it redrawn, we'll revisit it and approve it next quarter.
Okay, I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. That motion passes 5-0. All right, then, deliberate and, number 11 is deliberate and consider possible action on library facilities project. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. What I gave you is what, when Judge Starnes was here, Ricky and I submitted to him and Shelley about the water damage that occurred in the library on back in November. So I know Shelley has seen it, Ricky and I obviously have, we've been working on it. I wasn't sure that you still had it in your office as a newcoming, and I don't think any of you saw it. It's the documents that we submitted to Paragon Roofing, which then Ricky last week emailed all of you to let you know that we had heard back from them in regards to the amount that we submitted to them. The only question I had was, we have on there, and it's in this packet, to pay for the drying and the cleaning of the carpet that did get damaged and wet. And I was not personally physically in this court, the last court, the first one we had here in January, but I thought that we were supposed to get quotes to find out and submit to them about what it would replace, what it would cost to replace the carpet that had been damaged. Ricky and I didn't, he had a different take from that than what I did. So we submitted documentation without that on to Paragon. So I guess we need to know, I mean, I don't know if there's anything we can do now anyhow, since they've agreed with the amount that we've already submitted them.
Did not drying the carpet out was it not suffice?
It appears all they're required to do is get it back in the same condition it was before it got wet.
Yeah.
And it is that.
Yeah.
Rick, will you step up to the microphone so people know who's talking?
Okay.
Thank you. And your position is, it's good as it was before the incident. And there's no reason to go take advantage of the situation and ask the contractor to pay for something that should be on us.
Is that the new carpet? No, I haven't put the new carpet in.
It's old indoor-outdoor carpet, isn't it? I mean, it's been there for
Yeah,
years,
it's been there since
and we
I've been
plan to
here.
do it.
I mean, since both of us have been here, and we've both been here since 2004 and 2005, so.
So if you depreciated it out, it would be worth nothing.
How
So,
much was it to clean and dry?
$800.
okay. So, but we didn't submit,
We did submit that.
and he's paid that.
Well, so far we
He's
haven't
agreed to.
received,
Yeah.
he's agreed to, but
I don't get it.
I think
He's
that-
agreed to, right?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
agreed to pay it.
Did y'all agree to replace the carpet before it?
Yeah, we were talking about
Yeah,
renovations.
yeah, that's during renovations, right?
That
Yeah,
doesn't have anything to do with the water damage.
yeah.
Okay. I just wanted us to be clear on the situation, because if somebody watches the video that happened in this last court in January, there was a request for him to do that. So for him and for I both, we both want to make sure that we're doing what you guys instructed us to do, and that the people in the county know that we were doing what we were told to do.
Yeah, but
So that's-
we
that's-
requested restoration, and he did, and he's agreed to pay for it.
Yeah.
Anybody
Okay.
see something I don't see?
Okay, no, that's all. You should know, you don't know, they picked up the dumpsters this morning, so they're out of the parking lot, finally. So that allows, just so we know, and Ricky can address more about the roof and the boiler stuff that's been done, but those have both been done. We're kind of here because we just need to know what's our next step supposed to be. You know, what do we do as far as moving forward on the renovations that you guys have approved? Is the meeting room next? Is the painting and the cleaning of the ductwork next? Is the carpet, you know, obviously the carpet should probably go last, but is all, you know, where do we start next? We need direction, correct?
Well, that was kind of a question I would have here, is consider possible action on library facilities project. What does project mean? What's encompassed in that?
About $200,000 in expenses.
I think we get, at this point, we get the roof done and then we start working on what we're gonna do next.
Okay.
When are they gonna put the roof on?
The roof is on,
Okay, the roof's done.
the roof is complete.
And that's part of the problem, wasn't it? They put the roof on and there was a,
Before they put the roof on, there was a leak. During the
Okay.
process of their testing, they left a hole, and then it rained. and-
Okay.
And that's where that all.
okay.
So where we are is the roof has been completed. And it's my understanding that it was approved in past courts to do the painting, which we have a quote on painting. I believe it, I'll have to go look, I think it was $1,500. And then approval to replace the carpet. We have the price on that. And then we were waiting on quotes to do some other restoration. There's a door that needs to be put in her office, countertops and some things that are old and outdated. And we were waiting on a quote for that. I have one quote, I'm waiting on another one. Supposed to have gotten it by today, but he didn't get it. But at this point, we don't have any price from anybody in the meeting room and a plan on what we're gonna do as far as
And we also approved to update the restrooms.
restrooms. Yeah, that's in this quote.
In that
that I
whole
have.
quote, okay.
Right.
So that's where we're at. We're waiting on all the quotes and we approved to put new carpet in the place back in October, so.
Well, the only thing we don't have is the meeting room because we were waiting on the leak to see if that leak ever happened.
Right.
And it never happened even before the new roof, so we're pretty sure it's not gonna happen. I have a tax, the yearly tax service that we offer, the ARP. They start in February and they'll go till the middle of April in that room. They've seen it. He's okay, it's with adults, with the wall open, so we're not planning on moving the kids back in there till that wall gets closed, because there's metal brackets that are sticking out and all kinds of stuff. So we just needed to know, you know, do we,
Well, we're not gonna get the room remodeled before that.
no, oh, absolutely
We know
not,
that.
I know that. I mean, we're just trying to figure out, once he gets the quotes, do we come back to court for that? You know, what do you guys want us to do? We're looking for the next steps.
We will have to get that approved.
Yeah, whenever he gets the quotes, we
Just
can
like you always
talk
say.
about,
Yeah.
talk about it all.
Right. So we've already got approval that you guys said you'll fix the bathrooms and all of that, and the paint and the carpet, which is October. I'm kind of doing this too, since Judge Ron weren't here and Commissioner Singh weren't here. We felt like we ought to bring them up to speed with you guys as well and update you, so that they know what's happening too.
But on any of those projects approved, it would be my thinking you'd still come back to the court with your numbers like you always do and say, hey, here's what it's gonna
Anything that's not
cost.
approved, Sure.
You know,
Right.
and hopefully we're tracking every dime we're spending.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've asked in the past, you know, what we spent, we said, well, we really don't know, so need to be tracking that.
So just wait for the quotes, let them finish their
Just-
quotes, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one quote from MMI, which is one of the subcontractors that worked on the annex building, plus they worked on the courthouse too. I'm waiting on one from Justin Waltershire, Munster. And,
And what do they do?
Uh,
That quote is for what?
The quote is to update the counters in the workroom, update the bathrooms, and then do work in the meeting room. We're gonna sheet rock, plan is sheet rock and just texture in the meeting room. Of course, we've already got new carpet figured for it.
And we have the tile for the bathrooms already, because we're gonna use the tile that was gonna go in the annex.
Yeah.
So we've got tile for the bathrooms already.
Sure we are.
So do we need to approve that quote?
No,
No, we don't have it yet.
Quotes,
Need to
and
get
we'll bring it
one.
all back and get it all figured out.
Okay, gotcha.
And whoever's bidding that, do they know we have the tile ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. So we'll, hopefully we'll be able to come back on next court, and we'll have all our ducks in a row.
Okay.
Sounds
Like you hadn't been busy?
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
all right. Would you say no action on that one then?
Yep.
All right. Item number 11 is no action. Item number 12, deliberate and consider the possible approval of final plat, including irrevocable letter of credit in lieu of construction bond for Parker Heights, a 53-lot proposed subdivision in Precinct 2, Commissioner Snuggs.
Morning.
She's a doctor.
Am I good?
Yeah, just one second. Kathy not being here today, we're just gonna work through it.
Okay.
We've got everything together. We just have a little bit different deal because they're not gonna do bonds, doing a letter of credit. But you can speak, Landon, and we'll work our way through it here.
Perfect. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Landon Darwin. I represent Lackland Holdings and Riverside Home Builders. We're the developer and builder out at the proposed project, Parker Heights. And as Commissioner Snuggs mentioned, we've been working close with Kathy and him on getting everything to this point for final approval. So as you mentioned, we have our final plat here that I'm hand delivering, a check for the remainder of the invoices outstanding with Icon, the county's review engineer, and we provided the letter of credit last week from Interbank. So I think we've done everything we need to do to get to this point for approvals, and happy to answer any questions.
Kathy said everything was here, and I looked over it this morning. Everything looked good. What concerns did you have with the letter of credit?
Can you tell us why you chose to do the irrevocable letter of credit versus using a bond?
A bond. The letter of credit versus a bond for us on our end, and what we talked about with Commissioner Snuggs is the bonding companies usually take a fee. Letter of credits do not, and so it's our preference, and we use this letter of credit system in pretty much every county we develop in to do letter of credits if the county will allow, which county ordinances do allow a letter of credit.
But not all counties?
Every county I'm aware of has that option.
Yeah, so
Don't quote me on that across the state, but.
Yeah,
at
well,
least
we
the ones
had that, and it's been, was it precinct 2 that done the, see, I thought I had one too. How do you renew that letter of credit?
Gotcha. So one of and Commissioner Snuggs and Kathy and I went back and forth. The way we have our letter of credit set up is that there is an end date in which we are responsible for completing the subdivision. And so that gives the county the surety that if we're not done, it's January 10th of 2024. If we're not done by that point, say 30 days, 2 weeks, whatever, the county's comfortable with, then they would be able to draw on that letter of credit prior to that date.
I'm assuming that letter of credit is based on collateral for the property.
The letter of credit is based on, per the county ordinances, the cost of the public improvements. I think the idea being that if we walk for whatever reason, the county has the ability to go take those funds and finish those public improvements.
Because this is a large project, millions of dollars of infrastructure, so a bond would cost.
It's usually like 3%.
Yeah.
So it's a $3 million letter of credit with a bonding company. They would take a 3% fee.
So instead of having to spend $100,000 on a bond, that money can still go into the project. Smaller projects with smaller bonds isn't a big deal, but on these. So.
The previous one, the people canceled the letter of credit, but we never got a copy. So when we tried to claim on it, it wasn't there.
Okay, yeah, we've got the copy of this.
We have no checks and, but.
Yeah, but
That
that we don't get
How do you know-
notified
what do you do
that
if
they've canceled. If they
Yeah, what
cancel
if
it,
they
we don't
cancel?
get notified.
If I could make a point, on the letter of credit, the county is the beneficiary. So we have no say on.
Right, but you could cancel it.
I believe at this point, I'm not a banker, but my understanding is that the letter of credit verifies the funds are available from our bank, the county being the beneficiary of it. And I believe there's a notice that the county elects to draw, but I'm not familiar with the developer being able to.
It should be like, from my understanding, it should be like an automobile policy, which is two different things. But if you cancel, if we're the lien holder and that letter of credit is canceled, we'll be notified because we're the beneficiary the letter of credit. Where was this one at? I mean, obviously prior to me coming in the office, which,
See, I actually thought I had one precinct one. That's what I thought.
It's in
But-
my-
but the problem,
In my office, but because of that letter, I think that was one of the reasons for getting the subdivision regulations updated, and I thought we put it in there to not accept
if you looked at
those.
the subdivision,
yeah, it's
see.
in there. It says it's a letter of
Because
credit.
my
It says
concern
in
is
there
it-
that we can?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
I mean, my thought process would be, the bank is holding that property as collateral on that letter of credit. And if the project for some reason was not completed, you really see the bank shelling out the cash?
I mean, we allow them in our subdivision regulations. If we want
I
to
mean,
look
if
back
it-
and not allow them, we have
No,
to do
no,
that.
I don't, no, I'm
But
just raising the question because it's been a
yeah,
while.
You know, and I understand, you know, it took us a little while, it took us a month or so to get all this ironed out, so we had the right letter with the right dates and everything, you know, and this is the same company that's doing the project with the city of Gainesville and also doing the mud in my district too, so, and they've already done lots of preliminary dirt work, so they're
We're
they're
fairly
in this for
committed.
the long haul already.
It's your precinct.
Yeah, yeah.
just-
I'm working my way through it at the same time here when
You've
you're.
been working there for
Right.
7 or 8 months already.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're pretty far along on this specific project and more to our company as a whole. If you go down to View and Metz Road, Sanger Meadows, I don't know if anybody's familiar, that's on the Denton County side. That's also us. We did the same thing we're doing here. We developed the lots, we built the homes. We're in the third phase of that subdivision. It's a 115 home subdivision. So we operate in 13 different counties. Last year we sold about 800 homes under our Riverside brand. So we're pretty familiar with the process. We do as much of our own development as we can for all the reasons why everyone has issues with developers. As a home builder,
The
we like to
bond-
be as much control as possible.
Getting a bond is easier for people than getting a letter of credit. I mean, you gotta be pretty salty to come up with a letter of credit for this amount.
This is the Lower Barthold place.
I have no idea.
About a mile, maybe a half a mile west of Valley View,
Yes, sir.
Street
Yeah,
from the
Mr.
power
Barthel's old
substation.
place.
on the north side of 922, okay,
That's the project, yes, sir.
yep.
So what y'all say that
Further
would
requirements.
keep him from canceling?
Do what?
I mean, once the bank gives that letter of credit, they're not supposed to cancel it. I mean, we would have legal recourse against the bank at that point too.
Dude,
That
see,
letter
I don't know
states
that.
that those funds are available within those times. So,
But see, to me, that kind of says, hey, we're gonna finance this thing, they're good through those times. But if at some point they didn't complete the project, then they're available to who and how hard is, I don't know, I'm really not arguing this, I'm just
Yeah,
asking the
no,
question.
that's,
Yeah,
so does
no,
that
I-
cover the maintenance period also, after the project's done?
All that's the same. The only difference here is we're doing the letter of credit option in the county ordinances versus the bonding option. But as far as anything post-construction, after acceptance,
That's all
everything
maintenance
else is the same. This-
yeah,
it-
you definitely couldn't do it in the maintenance bond situation because that's something
Yeah,
somebody
that's-
can walk on easily.
How's
Generally,
your-
your contractor will put that maintenance bond up in most scenarios. But
So
yes,
the developer's not, doesn't put the maintenance bond.
They're gonna do.
we'll be responsible ultimately.
They're gonna do a maintenance bond.
Yes.
And they'll do a bond instead of a letter of credit. Why
No,
would
that'll
why would he do a letter of
that'll
credit
have to
on a
be a
maintenance
bond.
bond?
That has to be a bond.
That has to be a bond. We don't want to take a letter of credit on the maintenance
Okay,
bond.
for our subdivision,
Mhm.
it's okay.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah, so, I totally understand everything you're saying, but, I mean, we allow them, and like I said, it took us over a month to get everything ironed
This is
out
a-
on the dates. and
this is a huge
everything.
amount of money.
I mean, it's huge, yeah.
Yeah, we understand this is our first project here in Cooke County. We're very excited to get it on the ground and,
Now, y'all are doing the one at Chalmers Estates, right, with the city?
correct. Yes, that's us as well, all the
And-
construction behind.
This doesn't have anything to do with Prosty and China. How many lots is that? I keep hearing 300, I hear 800.
The entire project or this first phase?
Both, whatever.
The entire project is looking about, and we're really early, so never hold me to this, but about 845 lots.
Okay.
Of course, that's over.
What's the first phase?
That's the first phase. The first phase is 113 lots.
This is, yeah, they're large.
And that's 845 lots with an amenity center, a trail system. We're very excited about that project as well. Obviously, that's in the city, but we've got lots of stuff in the works in Commissioner Snug's district. And we want to make y'all happy, so we appreciate y'all working with us on the letter of credit. And hopefully you'll see we do a good job building nice homes.
I've got a question here. What size homes or what are these built to, are they, or do the homeowners determine the homes, or do you build the homes? Are they pre-built or what?
Yeah, so we are by definition a spec builder, meaning
Okay.
that we build the homes.
Gotcha.
We build the floor plan, we intend to build on that lot regardless of the
Okay.
end buyer.
Okay.
But where we differ a little bit from your big national brands that sell thousands and thousands of homes a year is we do allow some level of tailoring on interior, finish outs, countertops, light fixtures, things of that sort.
Okay.
But floor plans and all of that are decided by us, facades are decided by us.
What is a typical home size that we're talking about here?
On our acre lot product, which is what we're talking about in Parker Heights, we don't have a floor plan under 2,200 square feet. So it goes all the way from 2,200. We have some as much as 3,800. I don't see us putting that product in this subdivision, but I would say 2,200 to 3,500 square feet.
Okay.
For the most part.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the final plat, including the irrevocable letter of credit in lieu of the construction bond for Parker Heights, Precinct 2.
Motion is made to approve the letter of credit for, in lieu of the construction bond for Parker Heights
And the final plat.
in the final plat. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. It passes 5-0.
If you'll leave that,
What would you like me to do?
bring in the check and then we'll sign those here in a minute. You need a signed copy before you leave?
If I could get one.
Yeah.
If that's possible. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was hoping for a bigger check than that.
I know, I can't believe that.
Wait a minute.
Been a little overage there, icon, maybe some gas.
Be careful.
Fire fees or something.
Okay, 13, deliberate and consider possible approval of final plat for Prairie Grove Ranch, a 7-lot proposed subdivision in Precinct 2. Commissioner Jason Snuggs.
Me again? Oh.
It's you again. Oh, here we go.
Yep, and her. This is a smaller subdivision and made sure we got everything in before Kathy left me. You have anything to add? You have anything to add?
We've been working on this one a while, and we met with Kathy last week when she knew she wasn't going to make it today. And we're excited about this one. I think they'll sell pretty quickly, and we've got restrictions on them, and those will be filed with the county as well. It's on a paved road.
This one they brought to us with more lots, last year, probably about this time, and then there was some issues with those, so they decided to simplify with the drainage and sell off one big lot and have these remaining lots, so no roads to be built on this one, so it simplifies. This is in the S-turn on Prairie Grove Road, right across the street from that huge ranch.
Dos Caminos Ranch.
Yeah, just south of Sheriff's House.
Gotcha.
There's no roads, there's nothing like that, because it all borders the road.
Okay.
You don't have to build any roads. So everything's in on this one. I make a motion, we approve the final plat for Prairie Grove Ranch in Precinct 2.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. That passed, item 13 passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank you very much. All right, item 14, deliberate and consider possible approval of repairing the monopole tower lighting issues.
Good morning. So, guys, I can't see you. The monopole at the old sheriff's office, I think has been there since it was built, 1980,
Maybe when it was modified in '88, I'm not sure, I wasn't here. But I can tell you, since I've been here, the only thing that's really been done up there was to, we did replace the light module at the very top, the beacon. And that was right after I got here, back probably around 2005 or 6. So the pole as it sits is painted red and white, and it needs repainted is one issue. To be properly lit, or to be in compliance with the FAA, if it is painted red and white, then it doesn't need any daytime lighting. It only needs a nighttime red beacon on top. If it's not painted or maintained in the appropriate paint, then you would need daytime lights and nighttime lights. And as you see on most towers out there, that bright white beacon during the day, and then at night it automatically transitions to the red beacon at night. So right now, our beacon is not working at all. We have filed the appropriate notifications with the FAA, so we're okay, we're legal, but we need to get it fixed. There's a couple of solutions. One is to paint it, and then to put new lights on it, because right now the repair folks have been out and they've determined there's a short somewhere in that conduit, electrical wiring between the bottom box of controls and the very top beacon. They don't know where, because again, you gotta climb it to find it, but they can tell because it's shorting out, and through their troubleshooting, that there's a problem with the electricity between the two locations. And all of that wiring is over 20 years old, probably 40 years old. The best solution, I would say, is to go with a new LED lighting system and disregard the paint altogether. If you're gonna replace the whole lighting system anyway, which you have to do, just go ahead and make it a red white on top and make it LED. That would cover us for daytime lighting and nighttime lighting. At this time, we only had the emergency management repeater on that tower, but at this time that has been disconnected because now the simulcast 4 sites have taken over that role. So that does not have any active repeaters on it. I do have an antenna for the radios in my office on there, but that's all. The active equipment on there now is the City of Gainesville's networking and internet provisioning for their internal communications and cameras and whatnot. So that is the background. The quote I have right now, and I'm waiting on another one from another company, is approximately $15,000 to take down any unused wiring and coax from previous radio applications on there, and there are probably 3 at least strands that would come down, and then remove the current lighting system and install an updated LED day-night lighting system for that price of $15,000. And I'm, again, waiting on another company to give me a bid on what they would recommend, or what they would charge to do the same thing.
Any chance you asked Shipman?
Yes, that's who has referred another company to come see me, and they haven't gotten in touch with me yet. It's been about 2 weeks, so hoping they'll get in touch with me soon.
I know they climbed it to some degree at one point in time working for Gainesville.
Right. He said they've outsourced that pretty much to another company for the most part, and that's who's supposed to be getting back with me.
How tall is this tower?
I'm sorry.
I believe it's around 180 feet, almost 200. I think the antenna on the top is 20 feet, which takes us to 200 if I'm not mistaken, but it's at least 180.
Who is currently using that tower?
Right now,
you?
I have a couple of antennas on it, or actually one, to a UHF radio in my office. It's about halfway up, and other than that, it's all City of Gainesville communications, internet infrastructure.
And what are they? Are they even 100 foot?
Sir? Yeah, they're probably at 100. I asked them to please stay at about midway up or lower, and you can see there a couple of arrays right there about midway that they use.
You know, do we see a need? I mean, could we reduce the height of the tower and get down to where we didn't even have to meet an FAA rating?
Honestly, don't know what that height would be, and I don't know what that cost would be.
Might be huge. I don't
Can't
know.
answer that question at this point, but
Just getting a
That's
crane
certainly an
out here,
option.
we know costs a bunch of money. So,
I wouldn't be, well, you know, it's, generally, it's been around $1,500 to $2,000 just to climb the pole, regardless of what they do. Whether that's to put an antenna up, change a light bulb, it's, you start.
in the wrong business.
I ain't calling us, okay.
But
Yeah.
what we spent on a crane, 30,000, Shelley, when they climbed our ice out here and Motorola split it with us? Wasn't it about 30,000? Something like that? Just to bring a crane out here to, you know, if you start trying to take part of it down.
I don't recall.
I can't believe you don't have that, you know.
How much time do we have to get it done? I mean, as far as,
I've got my current notification, the FCC, or FAA took us through 31 January. There is an extension possible that I would get if I needed to, certainly.
yeah.
It just makes sense, we do something up there, go LED, it'd be cheaper to run,
Yeah.
life bulb
I
would be
agree with
longer
that.
and stuff like that. And you say red works day or night?
No, sir, it would be white, the white stroke during the day, which would transition with a sensor to red at night, to dawn, dusk to dawn, basically. The antenna and the coax that are on there from the emergency management repeater are satisfactory, they work. It doesn't have very good range, but right at this point, it's just unplugged, so in the event of something really crazy, we could plug it in and just go right back to work on it, if we needed to. I don't think it's anything we want to throw away or give away that capability, but, it's paid for and sitting there anyway, so.
If for some reason somebody pulls it, and the court may or may not know this, we've got 2 or 3 VHF antennas stored at the Precinct 1 barn that came off of Rice Avenue. So if we pull it, let's put them all together, you know, so we'll have them.
There is, we budget about $5,000 in my budget a year to maintain any issues that come up with towers. Generally, that gets us a climb and a bulb change, maybe, and a little more. So there is a little money there towards this. I guess we could use that unless something else comes up, but,
If we did the retro, Shelley, where would that money come from?
Contingency,
Is there enough there?
depends on how much it is, there's only about 300,000 left.
Yeah.
I would suggest that at this point, I will attempt to get another quote just to verify. I'm pretty sure the one we've got is probably gonna be the better, the lesser of the two. And bring that back certainly for approval, ideally before the next court, or at the next court, is my goal to get that done and get it going. But, I would recommend that if we're gonna keep a tower, it's either get rid of the tower or, and I don't recommend repainting it and then going back with a red light when you can, for probably a lot less money, just replace with an LED system and take down any extra stuff up there to take more load off the tower.
So can you get the extension from the
Yes,
FCC
should be
or
able to.
FAA?
So I guess one of my questions would be proposed moves and everything else that I wasn't part of prior to this and everything else. Is there going to continue to be a need for that tower?
I don't, at this point, with the four-site simulcast system we have, there doesn't appear to be wouldn't appear to be a prolonged need for having that in that tower.
Okay.
The city of Gainesville is using it. They have, their equipment on there. So it is being used by someone, but.
No, have you talked to the city of Gainesville
No, sir,
about?
I've not.
Okay,
That was part of,
yeah,
I think, this discussion. That maybe someone at y'all's level might want to take up that discussion. Or I can. I'd be happy to do it, but I can't make any.
sure.
Well, and I don't think we've ever charged them anything. for that location, but you might ask them to take care of the maintenance on it and give them, indefinite usage or whatever, but,
Well, if we're not gonna continue to use it, and they are going to continue to use it, well, I would think they would have the option of either leaving the tower in place or removing, whatever. Does that make any sense, Ray?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's certainly a discussion I think that could be had.
Okay.
If it's really primarily there for their benefit at this point, then that may be something that the court wishes to discuss with the city.
If we go ahead and renew with FCC, how long is that for, or how long do we have to, are we committed?
No, so there's no obligation. It's just,
Okay.
if you're gonna have a tower, it has to be properly lit, and if it's not
Sure.
properly lit, you have to let them know and get it done as
Yeah.
fast as you can. And,
Okay.
so that's not a license or anything like particular that's.
I don't think we'd ever, it costs us how much to take it down? It costs us way more than to take it down. It's kind of one of them deals.
But Gainesville might want to use it, is what I'm.
True. We might eventually need it for something else too. You never know.
It's a good resource.
the only thing, it'd probably take 30,000, 40,000 to take it down, but if you spent 15,000 here ever so often,
Yeah.
then you're up to what it costs to take it
Yeah.
down. And our pager system, it's still too short to be of any benefit to us on the UHF side of the house, right?
Yes, sir. We have the ability, and that's what's left up there right now, is the ability to page as far as it'll reach, if everything fell apart.
Is it enhancing anything right now? It's just a fallback position.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you get that second quote and come back next meeting?
Yes, sir. And I think, ideally, I hope maybe someone would care to get the conversation started with the city possibly to see that, but that's again, I hate ever saying above my pay grade.
Well, we're gonna need to talk to Barry anyway, so why don't, I take it upon myself to speak to Barry about that and see if there is a, desire from the city of Gainesville to.
Well,
Just cost share a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'll do that, so I guess the action would be, to check with the city of Gainesville and see if they have any requirement to use our tower, and, would they be willing to, take on any of the responsibility and monetary requirement for the tower and bring it back
Yes,
next week.
Help them understand we're really not utilizing it,
Right.
other than for their benefit.
Right.
Maybe they'll sign up
Melissa,
for it.
if you would, let's bring that back next week. Do I hear a second on that? Or did I, that was pretty wild the way I said that, but
Take no action, bring it back next court.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't-
someone
Yeah.
will have those things ready for them to come back.
well, there
Well,
is
it ought to
gonna be
be.
an action, because I do need to
I think we can designate you without a vote.
do what now?
I think we can designate you without a vote.
Okay.
Because you're really not, you're just
That's
gonna go
fine.
off and collect information. It's not an action. You're
That's
spending
fine.
money. Yeah.
Just bring it back next court then. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 15. 14, first of all, was no action then, with me designated to go speak to City of Gainesville about the tower. Item number 15 is deliberate and consider possible action on participation agreement reinvestment zone number 1, City of Gainesville, which is Tractor Bob's, and we sort of touched on that earlier, didn't we?
We're done with that one.
Do what?
No action on that one.
Yeah. So,
No action.
no action on item 15. Item number 16, deliberate and consider possible action regarding Main Street parking lot. And I believe
That's Matt, but
Is that
I'm
Matt?
doubting he had a whole lot he could do this past
Matt.
2 weeks.
All right. What do you have for us, Matt?
I have no more than I had 2 weeks ago.
The engineer is currently drawing up the contract.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's nothing to report at this
Right.
point.
And
Okay.
they are revising their irrigation stuff, not so they don't have to cut the road, and stuff like that. What,
That would be a change order.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to ask about, because we got on the cell phone and sort of got an agreement on that last time, but is that a good agreement is that agreement still good?
Yes.
Okay.
That'll be a change order because of their bid they submitted was for the whole project.
Okay,
So it'll be a change order to deduct.
okay.
I
That
think the
portion.
judge is wondering if we done a handshake with Vessels.
Yeah,
Or, I'm sorry, the city, to be
The
sure
city.
they didn't have a
Right.
problem.
Oh.
city,
Yeah.
yeah,
That part,
okay.
You might, while you're visiting with
I'll do
Barry,
that.
confirm, but via text messages, or that may be on Matt, I don't, but just to confirm.
Ken, who did you talk to?
It's my understanding from Barry that we didn't have a requirement to go put the grass in there, thus there wouldn't be a need for irrigation, but you might want to confirm that. Because y'all heard we done it right here in court. So,
Right.
I mean, there's no documentation.
Right.
that would be city ordinances and/or state
Right.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I imagine that city
Do we need
ordinance.
some kind of documentation from them saying that,
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do
Probably need
it.
a letter.
yeah,
Why don't you and I go speak to Barry about this? We'll go together, and that way we'll,
okay.
the two new guys, yeah, there you go.
I don't think there's a problem, but we need to,
Do what? Yeah.
I don't think there's a
I
problem.
I agree. Okay, item number 16 is no action. Item number 17, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Crest Building. And as far as I know, there's no action here involved. Anybody know anything that I don't? All right, item 17 is no action. Item 18, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the county radio communication system. And I'm sure there's no action here.
There's really, I'm sorry, the sheriff had a,
I think the sheriff would like to speak to us on this, first of all.
And let me remind the court, as I was listening about the monopole, that we are bringing in revenue. We brought in 63,000 for December, 50-something thousand for November, and Shelley can talk about what revenue can be spent on, so there is money there if you choose to spend it. What I wanted to ask you is about money to, dealing with the radios. I saw in the paper that Munster was purchasing 3 new radios. I spoke with their city manager and verified that. So to go on the 700, there's 700 radios. So we are the point of access, the sheriff's office is. So what I need to ask the court is when, because it won't just be Munster. Valley View is looking to get some 700 radios. So when these departments come to me and say, hey, here's our 3 radios, we want to put them on your system, love to do it, but who's going to pay for it? So it's probably going to be about $8 a month per radio. So, that's $24 a month. There again, you're the money folks. Their city manager did say to me that they thought about and understood that there was probably going to be a fee, that they would be glad to pay it, or would pay it. So I think it's something that you as a court need to decide what you want to do about that. And probably, whether you decide it today, or if not, it needs to be probably your next court, because I ordered one of those new radios and it took about 3 weeks. So they'll be coming in and then they'll want to get them going.
He raises a good point, and I absolutely believe early on when we were going around, or I was going around and talking to the municipalities, that I did make them aware that I anticipated a fee, or they should anticipate a fee. But I talked to the chiefs, and at least two of those cities, the chiefs are not the same chiefs anymore. So I don't know how well it got communicated, but they absolutely are to sign up for it. And I suspect for accounting purposes, it needs to go through Shelley, and we write Denton County one check, and they pay us whatever that is. Like I said, 3 radios, sheriff's right, it's not a whole lot, but then now you've got 4 or 5 municipalities, and they add 2 or 3 apiece, and, you know, next thing you know, it's running into money. So, and we don't know that number yet. We hope it's less than that, because that's based on what they do with, I think, City of Louisville and some of those folks, but they provide many more services. I think they program their radios and stuff of that nature. So maybe it won't be that high, but could be as much as $8. Yep.
I'm thinking it should be like an interlocal agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any.
And don't tie them down to a number, just say that each radio would cost X amount of dollars. Or, I mean, you could say the current amount, 'cause I don't know if it will go up.
Well, and something that's gonna happen periodically is Denton is gonna do software upgrades. And we're gonna have to pick up and pay for those software upgrades. So we need to pass some portion of that on to the municipality probably.
But it'd be kind of like the volunteer fire department's interlocal agreement, I would think. I mean, I don't think it needs to be, unless you have stipulations that they're not allowed to do X, Y, and Z while using the radios, or, I don't know your side, so.
And for clarification, these radios that the sheriff's talking about adding will be law enforcement radios
Yeah, but I mean.
owned by the city.
But he might also have like, how to conduct yourself, I mean, there might be rules, I don't know if you have rules, but you put those in the interlocal agreement also, that you will be kicked off if you violate these rules or whatever, I mean.
If part of that interlocal, they're going to, one of his stipulations might be, obviously, and they already do this, but they back the deputies when they're outside and stuff like that. That's the quid pro quo part of this thing, I would think.
So I give an authorization, and then it allows them to operate on certain channels.
And he can delete them. They don't play fair, he just wipes them out of the system.
If we don't say why we're deleting them, then they will change mine, but I don't know, I mean, that's just.
I think that's between the sheriff's office and them, or the sheriff and them, but I'm not the money person, so I don't.
You're just worried about the finances.
I didn't want you to get a $24 bill and then say, hey, you didn't have authorization to put them on there. That's up to you all.
I'd make the motion that we put it forth to those municipalities in which are participating in the program, that they be responsible for the monthly charge for core services.
And I second that.
Does that make sense to guys?
Yeah.
That-
Do we have any
that
of them
fix you,
that
Sheriff?
can't,
I'm sorry.
do we have any of them that's can't afford it? I mean, I know it sounds like a small bit, but I think there's a couple of them out that kind of struggle a little bit, the
I
way it
mean,
is.
the flip side of this is, it's up to the court, but I think if we don't charge one of them, we don't charge any of them.
Well, I understand that, but
Yeah. And then it's a huge benefit for what they got invested. Right now, we provided each municipality one radio, and as far as I'm concerned, that's still county, the county's property. And you may not know this, but did we put property numbers on, you know whether or not we put property numbers on those 5?
I do not.
Well, I bet Debbie did. I bet they done them all. I bet, anyway, that should be county property on loan to the municipalities. So, I hear what you're saying, Matt.
well, I just don't want some of them to say, well, we can't do it, and then, just like that deal out there north of town, out there where they going down these pig trails and you're trying to talk to dispatch and say, well, the ambulance needs to turn here or go there. That, it don't work when you're going through 3 different people. They need to be able to talk.
Yeah, but in this case, at least, this is for law enforcement, solely for law enforcement on the 700. So they should be, if they have a municipal police department, they should be collecting some revenues through citations and, fines, fees, or whatever. So it should offset it, would be my thinking. I mean, if you take the Rostons and stuff, that they don't have a police department,
Right.
so they're not gonna have one of these radios anyway. Does that make sense? Because if they don't have a police department, they don't come into play, I guess is what you would say.
So not all fire departments are getting it.
Not any fire departments are getting it.
No, this is
The 700. This
This
is
is-
just based on the.
Just strictly
This is
for
law
police
enforcement.
officers only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this isn't cutting out the fire departments or anything like that. This is, the article that came out in the paper the other day about Munster getting the capability and everything. This is basically what that is, but that was the police department they were talking about, not their fire department or not in EMS or anybody like that. This is strictly that. But the converse of this is, okay, if you've got Munster that's got maybe 3, potentially. You've got Valley View that's got 3, maybe. You've got, is Gainesville involved in this or no? Have they even shown any interest in this?
Well, yeah, we've talked a
Okay.
little bit, but they're,
What are we potentially looking at as far as law enforcement that really the county, this would kind of be a burden on the county if you looked at a monthly bill, month after month after month.
Oak Ridge has
Oak Ridge,
at least
there you go.
2 cars.
Sure.
So 2, 3 in Valley View, 5. I think Lindsay's just got 1, 6, and then you're probably 3 or 4 in Munster. So, you could possibly say 10. So it would be about $80
$80 a month or so.
$80 a month.
Yeah.
That's for the county though. I mean,
That's for-
you just take the number of units they got, multiply it for $8, we'll say worst case, we think at this point, and it's not necessarily a big deal today, but as today they have 3 officers, they may have 5.
Exactly.
2 years down the road. And, I mean, for what they're getting, I mean, they didn't invest in any of this infrastructure and stuff to make this happen. So it's chump change to them.
I misunderstood what it was going for.
Now, tomorrow, I've authorized DPS to be on the 700. They already have the dual bands just like we have. And Denton's doesn't charge Texas DPS, and they're not going to charge our Texas DPS. So they will be, I think, like I said, they're coming up tomorrow, going to program their radios, so they'll be operating on 700.
Okay, you bring up a good point too. It's, it's either all or none. I would think when it comes to paying for.
Sure. And like I said, the more the merrier
Yeah.
on 700. It's, so that you all know, it is awesome. I've not found a square inch in this county where it doesn't work, including handhelds. There probably is a spot out there where it doesn't, but it works fantastic so far.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Who's the second?
That would be me.
To pass that charge on to the municipalities.
Yes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none.
So is that when is someone going to contact them? Do you want me to when they contact me with the radios, you want me to direct them to the auditor's office to set up payment, or is that?
I bet probably city secretary, the auditor gets your most direct line, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah. And who's going to contact the city secretaries?
You're not gonna do an interlocal agreement?
Well, yeah, I mean, we probably need to do that. Who do we need to draft that? Because it needs to be simple.
Well,
Wonder if Denton County has one for all the municipalities in there.
Probably. Probably. Yeah.
yeah. Melissa, do you know how to do an interlocal agreement with assistance?
I've got, yes, with assistance, I think we can do fine because I've got all the other ones on file, so we can use those and go from there.
Okay.
It should be pretty simplistic. And Denton may have, what's the little city between Denton and Louisville, some of the little small towns, they probably got it.
Sanger would be one.
Yeah, somebody,
Brent.
sound like you don't volunteer.
Leo, Hood.
No, we're talking about in Denton between, say, the city of Denton and
Hickory Creek.
yeah. Because I'm sure they've got them on 700. So,
But you were correct earlier when you talked about, so Denton is doing business with Cooke County, and we have our 700 trunk system. That's all they want to deal with. They're not going to deal with Valley View or Munster or anybody else on an individual basis because it's our lines, our channels, so to speak, that they're going to be using. So.
let me speak to that a little more clearly. We do not need these other local municipalities calling Denton and say, how do we get on the core? Okay?
It needs to come.
It has to go through our sheriff's office. You can call all day long, but that man controls the 700 and who gets on it and who doesn't.
That's right.
And what they do is they cause confusion whenever they try to contact Denton County directly. And they really need to be, when they're considering radios, they need to contact somebody in Cooke County and say, what kind of radios are you buying and are they compatible to our system and how do we get there? And the sheriff is very familiar with that. But it does create a problem because Denton then is ringing us up and saying, what's going on? Okay? That's the reason the fewer points of contact here that we have, the better we communicate. And the articles last week showed, in the paper, showed how confused we've got people. It really did.
And we are talking law enforcement.
Yeah, we are talking law enforcement only. But, we really do have some folks confused. I mean, if I read those articles, I would think this whole program's a failure. And we talked about issues that none of that had to do with the law enforcement side at all. It all had to do with VHF. So, and I'm going to speak to it very little this week as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to tell you what's happening is they came in last week, they've tested, they've improved. We got strong signal. From what I can tell, we're never going to have 100% anywhere, even with 700. There's going to be some place out there you're not going to have a signal, okay? But they will be back tomorrow with even some more sophisticated equipment and some new expertise. And I think it's getting better every time they touch it, okay? And other than some minor things I need to be working on, like propane lines to generators, batteries to generators and stuff like that, that's transparent to the court usually. We're still off and on. I sent you, forwarded you an email, Sheriff, on training, because they still owe us some training.
Ray, did you want to speak to this issue here? You don't have to.
No, sir. Well, I'll just
It's up to you.
reiterate that.
Okay.
That as Commissioner Holloway said, they were out last week.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Are continuing to enhance or better the VHF analog part of the system. As he said, there'll be 2 more back out, Wesley Short from Shipman and a Motorola engineer with an additional piece of equipment and with the other piece they had last week, so they continue to improve the analog system, and they feel still very strongly that they should have it in very good working order, hopefully by the end of this week or in the very near future. They're with the VHF analog, there's an overlapping signals issue, and that's what they're trying to modify the different sites to make sure they don't conflict as much as they can, and where they do conflict, maybe try to move those areas into less populated and used areas where we don't respond as often. So that, I think that's pretty much where we're at right now.
While we're talking about radio, something I do want to add, we know, I think all of us know we have a pager issue, still having difficulty with the fire pager system out east. Ray's been out working diligently and looking for towers to.
Yeah, we feel like we've got the right spot located. We're working with that entity to get permission to put a repeater on there and test it for a couple of days and see how much better, and hopefully that is a adequately and much improved location. And as soon as we can get that testing done and if it works and they approve it, we'll have it up there and moving as fast as we can.
Yeah, that's really something we need some priority on. I mean, it needs to happen because we do have pager
Running as
issues.
fast as we can, it's just we can't do it on our own. So we've got another entity that we're in discussions with now.
Well, I'll be the first to admit that there's a lot of people in this room right here that know a whole lot more about this situation than I do, that have worked with it for a long time. My interest is that all of the emergency services basically are treated equal in this thing. And what that means is not necessarily they have the same equipment or anything like that, but at least they're all given equal consideration as far as communications goes and that sort of thing. And I think you're all working for that end right now. And I think by doing the testing that we're doing right now, we're headed that way. Did you want to say something, Adam? Or?
I'm just letting the news get tighter.
Okay.
Man.
I'm just saying, we ought to have a plan. If we need to go digital, we need to go.
Well, and
Before, hopefully we get a little rain tomorrow, but if we get a big incident, I'm just afraid that we're gonna have some chaos. That's just, I said it, that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, we actually end up with a pretty good interoperable channel by default that everybody can always flip over to the existing Cooke County SO VHF channel.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got it. And we created that by default for the most part. And if they don't have it, if they hadn't had it, it's digital. And so if we got apparatuses out there that couldn't talk to it in the past because they're not digital, then they should have never missed it. As far as being able to talk on sheriff's office.
So you're saying we can go to that SO channel and talk on it?
I think if you had a major incident, you could. Now, define major and, visit with the sheriff, but, I think by default that would be a good interoperable channel because keep in mind, it's not their primary law enforcement channel now. And again, we need to run it by the sheriff.
Well, it's still Valley Views, Munsters, Oak Ridge, and Lindsay's.
Yeah, but they ain't got the traffic on it it had when everybody was on it, so. But anyway.
Okay, and like I said, not knowing any more than I know about it, I'm interested in all of our emergency services being able to do what they're supposed to do. And whatever, I'm not sure what that takes yet, and I think we're working towards that.
I mean,
If
the court wanted to, I guess, we could do a workshop and sit down and look at 3 or 4 radios and talk about VHF digital, VHF analog, and 7 or whatever, if they wanted to, just to help people better understand. But I don't, and everybody here may absolutely understand it all. I don't have a problem.
Well, look, since you brought that up, is that something you might be interested in as far as bringing in a couple of the fire departments in a workshop?
Well, I guess you could, but I don't think that's the answer. Well, the court needs to understand it before it's an open meeting. The whole world could come in.
That's right.
But, we keep dangling the chocolate in front of the children. You better be able to buy the candy bar. And we can do it tomorrow if that's what people want to do.
And if
My only concern is, okay, take tomorrow. we get 6, 8 inches of snow.
Mm-hmm.
Dispatch is running nuts, and we can't get the messages relayed to our first responders out there. We've got a problem.
That's right.
I mean, and I don't know exactly what the situation is, so I just,
I
We
get
need
it,
to-
man, it needs to work.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when we were out last Friday testing them, like their signal's strong, you still got some spots, I hate to call them dead spots, but it's where one radio's trying to interact with two different towers. Is that a good analogy, Ray?
Yes.
I mean, but we think it's software, but I absolutely think Friday was much better than the previous Friday. And so, and they continue to put resources toward it, so.
All right, but back to this, when it's my fire out there, I want to make sure that the guys that come to my fire know that they're being treated just like everybody else is, and not slighted, and I mean that.
Well,
I
analog and
just want them
working
to know where they're
properly
going.
is what we've used for years. So,
Okay.
anyway, you know, we're working on it.
But something's changed,
Do what?
but something has changed
Yeah.
in the analog side.
Okay.
And it's not our, I mean, it's not Gary's fault. I'm not saying that.
No,
We just gotta get it figured out.
And I'm
well,
not,
do we need a workshop?
I don't know if a workshop would help.
You don't think? What do you think?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, we can I mean, a workshop's absolutely not going to fix our VHF issue.
Right. So.
It may generate more conversation, but it's not gonna fix the issue.
Okay, so right now, we're gonna continue testing and fixing the system. Then, is that what we've agreed on here?
I think that's what we think's happening. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
but we're not gonna just let it, we're gonna continue.
We talked to
Working.
Motorola this morning with a plan. I mean, in all honesty, the sheriff's office has been digital for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
The sheriff's office itself on its primary channel has been digital for 6 or 7 years. And the reason that we bought into this new system is because we had communication problems then. Now, the difference is now, if we go digital, it will be digital simulcast. But if we just went to the same old digital the sheriff's office had for years, they still had issues communicating. So, anyway.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that item 18 is gonna be just, we're gonna continue what we're doing right now and no action at this time. Is that reasonable?
And to Matt's point, I think if we had a huge incident tomorrow, and Adam, you can weigh in here, it's my thinking, mobile to base is working. Car to car, right, Adam?
Car to car?
Or mobile to base. In other words, from the sheriff's office to apparatus you're talking, they can send you where you need to go.
I can hear dispatch every time.
Every time, okay. And then when you get to the location, then we have ground channels that we can go to?
Well, that's the problem. You don't know, you might be more than that 3 miles away. That ground channel, that V21, V-fires, they're about 3 mile radius, that's it. And that's if it's straight.
So you've got a huge fire and it's running on you, you get
Yeah.
spread out?
You still gotta have that open channel that you can talk to everybody and know what's going on. And that's all they're saying. That's all we're saying is that county fire channel can have that squeal or whatever it's got in it, and I still hear it. I heard it again yesterday afternoon. It's just not a straight radio to radio. It don't work. To dispatch, it works.
Wonder what the difference is there.
They're hardwired in. They
Well,
can
not
hear
to
it.
the vehicle though. You
No,
still
no.
gotta go through the
The vehicle
waves.
goes to the transponder. The transponder's wired into the dispatch.
Dispatch will always hear it coming in and going through a wire line, so
Yeah.
dispatch is always gonna hear it.
Yeah.
It's the other units that can't. whether they're next to it or a mile away or 10 miles away. They don't hear it, or they hear the garble. Well, they don't know what they say. They need help, or are they in a mayday, or what's going on?
And we're still working through those. And of course, I think some of it may be a learning curve too. I don't know if, do all the departments, when they get on scene, typically try to go to a ground channel?
Yes.
So, and then they got the IC who's talking back and forth to the base, and that communication should be pretty reliable from IC back to dispatch.
It's just as you're coming in, or you get rerouted, or you got to talk to that truck, or hey, I don't need a brush truck, we need a tanker, that type deal. And it just doesn't work. It's not working. I'm saying it's a little better, but it's not working like it did before.
And we're still working, and we still don't have any reason to believe it won't be as good or better. So, can we go annexing now?
No action.
Yeah, I don't.
We'll just see what it does.
Okay. And
So are you saying 18, no action?
18, no action.
I thought that we already had a motion from Hollowell and a second from Rome for the municipalities to be accountable.
That was a different issue.
Well, it's under that line.
Oh, okay.
She's absolutely right.
Okay,
You're
I got
absolutely
you.
right, Michelle.
I got you. You're
Okay,
right. You're
okay.
right. That was, that motion had to do with who was going to pay for the Denton County.
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
So we do have a motion.
No, it's done. You voted on it, did you not?
Yeah, you
It's
already voted on it.
Already voted, okay.
Yeah, it's voted on.
Thank you for keeping me straight. I need to, I'm kind of new at this.
That's all right. So
All right. That's no excuse, but, all right, no action on anything else on 18 then. Item number 19, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the annex. Which A is deliberate and consider the possible approval regarding change order number 005006. Deliberate and consider the approval of certificate of completion is item B. What do you have on that? Do you have anything on that, Commissioner Hollowell?
We approved 5 and 6.
Say again?
Verbally, but this is the document that needs to be signed.
Okay, yeah. This is something we approved. It was when we done the tile, when we
Okay.
changed the tile. What else we changed, guys? I'm not looking at it. We changed from
Subfloor
tile to
and IT
carpet in the hallway. And what else is it?
Subfloor and IT room.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't level. Yeah, we approved this. It's been done. I mean, this is just the documentation. It just needs to be signed. I make the motion, we sign, what is it, 2 documents, 3 documents? The documents associated,
Change order is one, and the certificate of completion.
2 change orders, though, 5 and 6, right?
But they're on the same
One.
form.
Yeah, I'd make a motion, we sign the documentation associated with the change order and the certificate of certificate of substantial completion.
I'll second that with some discussion.
Okay.
And it's minor. I guess I was confused. Where's in the architect or in the bid were the signs, the braille signs and all of that, was that in the?
It is. This is substantial completion. Doesn't say completion.
Okay.
They owe us the braille signs. They owe us the blinds. Okay.
Right.
Anything else?
Oh, that's it. I was wondering did you contact them on the restroom signs?
I didn't.
Okay, because I reached out to Debbie because I thought she had ordered those, but she had just ordered the stickers for the windows that we'd asked her to order.
See, I don't remember what the braille signs said, whether they say men's and women's or whether they are unisex. So we need to follow up on that.
Yeah, I'll task you with that one since you've
Yeah.
talked to them along the way, if you would.
If it just says men's
not
and
an
women's,
emergency,
that's
but
fine, but we need some simple, something simple just to put on the men's and women's restrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, right in the middle of the door instead of just a braille sign.
Yeah,
right?
and I wish that they would.
Oh, you
send out the door
gotta,
locks, 'cause those door
Braille,
locks-
you gotta have it certain spot.
Right, they'll put that on there, and that's already part of the contract. We're just waiting on the signs to show up for that.
Or you mean in like the universal figure for a man and a universal.
Well, we could do
figure for a
that, or
woman?
we could
Well-
put the word, well, I guess you gotta do
Well, when
universal.
we first, were working on the plans and design and everything, we talked about having 2 unisex restrooms up there that already in the first week. It needs to be man or woman, men's and women's restrooms. So that was my concern, we can get those ordered. But then second, I'd like to see them, confused about all the door lock situations, but the bathroom door locks are terrible. So I don't know if that needs to be on them to change, or if we're gonna change that at a later date, 'cause I think we're gonna have the bathrooms locked from the inside. Anytime somebody from the public comes up there, they're gonna walk out and leave the door locked, and we can't get back in.
Have you seen the signage now? They've got it marked where it's locked or unlocked,
Oh, they do?
and you gotta unlock it to get out.
No, you don't. It just opens up when it's locked.
Check it. When we go-
Okay, yeah.
We can double
It
check.
was just a
We've changed so
minor
many locks
thing. It
over
was
there.
on my brain.
We've changed so many locks over in the last
Anyways, I
2
was
3
thinking we
weeks.
can vote, I just minor things on my brain.
Okay. Then, item number 19, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed? And there are none.
Now then, I still want to talk about the annex some more. If
Do what?
we need to talk about the annex some more.
Okay, go
That
right
takes care
ahead.
of those. Guys, the front door to the JP's office and the front door to our office are glass. And the plan is to put the decals on them with the commissioner's office and subdivisions on one and the JP on the other. Those haven't been ordered. Don't anybody object? I'm gonna run out here to the decal place today and see if we can make that happen. I don't think we want the little flag signs like we have downstairs showing JPs and constables, because what will happen as soon as you get off that elevator and you come to the first opening, you're gonna see that big decal. It's this big around. It's gonna say JP's offices. I can't imagine us needing any additional signage. And then you go to our door and do the same thing. I don't,
What do you mean, like pointers on the wall or something?
well, yeah, taping stuff on the wall with arrows and stuff like that, we don't, I mean, when you step out of the elevator, we might need to put an arrow, the only place we might need to put an arrow is when you come out the elevator to send them to IT. But the rest of it's on that main hallway. But the main thing, I just asking you guys to bless off on is me going to get the decals for the glass doors and getting those started. That's, I mean, it's part of the plan, just people have been busy and it hadn't been ordered, and if nobody objects, I will take that action and go do it. So, but then we need to consider any other signage that goes up, we kind of need to control that. So,
Yeah, that's fine with me.
unless you guys know something different, I mean, the place looks good, it's not $1 million executive suite. But,
What about on the lower floor on the billboard? Do we need to change that to the?
I don't know how we
JP's
wouldn't, Adam. I don't know how we
second floor?
would. Yeah, I absolutely think we should change it, send them a
Do
second
we need to
floor.
put like 201, like a number to where they can know what room number that is? Like we have here?
Those will be numbered because those braille signs.
Right.
So if we do that, or we task somebody to go do that, we need to be sure it matches our braille signs, and they're not up yet.
Well, I'm talking about on the board out front.
I know, but you want that to match the braille signs, what I'm saying, in other words, whatever number's assigned to it on the
Right.
braille sign, that's what you want to put on the board downstairs. Make sense?
Right.
Yeah, but no, I think that's a good idea.
And that helps with EMS and whoever, to where they know 201 second floor,
Right.
it's that room.
But see, technically, these numbers on here are not suite numbers. That's the door number on the architect's plans. So technically, we don't have suite numbers here.
Really,
But the door number has been adopted as the suite number.
as a suite
Of
number.
course, in the way ours is, it will be the suite number. over
Right,
here.
but in this building.
Yeah, but over there, it would be the suite number. So,
So on the CD case size on the door,
Right.
that's the door number in the building.
because you're gonna have door numbers inside say the JP's office, it's gonna be different numbers.
Right.
But to get them to the suite, and that's where Adam's trying to get them to, is just to the suite. Well, a couple of places, I think we probably need signage, is when you go in the door, we need something to point them to the elevator. Because you could wander around under 30 minutes before you find the elevator. And then go into IT when they get off the elevator. I mean, they either turn right and go toward IT, or they come down the main hallway and you got the glass, big glass doors. So, that's, and it, like I said, it's still on the contractor for the braille stuff, it's on the contractor for the blinds. And I don't know if anybody else needs to order furniture, if we've got it all ordered, or what. So I think we're in pretty good shape, if it get here.
If it gets here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just wanted to,
They couldn't bill us for what they've done without that change order signed.
oh, this one, and we're good, okay, all right. Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Item number 20, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the proposed way station. Does anybody have anything?
I have nothing.
Nothing? Item number 20 is no action. Item number 21, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Prosperity Building. Anything? Item number 21 is no action. Item number 22, deliberate and consider possible action regarding various grant funds.
Last Friday, Precinct 4 received $76,222.58 for PW 913, I believe. That went back to fiscal year 22 because of most of the work, it was finished in 22, so the money went back to last year. So you won't be able to budget it until 24. I have been sent a lengthy document request for PW 800 that I owe them. I just sent off 2 for Precinct 3, of which I got an email saying, are you ever going to respond to these? So I just re-forwarded my email, so I guess it got lost in translation. And CTIF, now that things are quieting down with the FEMA grant's been submitted for COVID, and all the other COVID-related grants are closing up. I have a quarterly report due right now for the EMS for the money that they got, the $76,000 they got, which was used to give the employees an appreciation for working so hard during COVID. And then I'll owe another report for the ambulances, sorry, we only got money for one when it comes in, and it hadn't come in yet, so. But most of the COVID grants are luckily, hopefully over. So then CTIP will be, there's forms to fill out, so if I can keep the document with the same information on it and just put the different dollar amounts and roads on there, then I should be good to go on that.
Okay.
But no action, I don't need.
Okay. Item number 22 is no action. Item number 23, do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get y'all to sign the document